The biggest question I get from clients this time of year, the holiday season, is, Kevin, should I go and spend time with my toxic, dysfunctional family members because it's Christmas? And it doesn't matter if it's toxic, dysfunctional parents that you have in your life, or in-laws, or even your own grown adult children who have families of their own. And now, I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, you need to go because it's Christmas. I'm also not going to say, no, don't go. As a matter of fact, nobody should be telling you to do something or not to do something. This actually speaks to a bigger issue that I like to help people overcome in this life, and that is bypassing your own God-given discernment in life in exchange for allowing other people to tell you what to do. Let me tell you something. You have an extraordinary gift given to you by your Creator. It's the gift of discernment, spiritual discernment. A lot of you will just simply call this your intuition or perhaps your gut instinct. If you are Spider-Man, you can call it your spidey senses or that spidey tingle. Whatever you want to call it, it's an extraordinary gift. It's not just some magical, non-existent power. The problem is that many of you, myself included, have been conditioned not to follow our own discernment in this life. And this creates a bigger problem that we need to address. Because anytime you don't go along with that discernment, well, you're teaching yourself not to trust yourself. And oftentimes it causes you to go against yourself. Anytime you go against yourself in any situation, you end up being with people you have no business being with, doing things you have no business doing, and going places you have no business going. And you're automatically subjected to abuse. And it doesn't even matter if anybody is abusing you or not. You will feel abused. You will be filled with anxiety just by being in a place that is against your own discernment. Being in a place and being in an environment you really don't want to be in. Part of my coaching is to help people to understand that you will experience less abuse and you won't deal with narcissists as much when you learn how to listen to your own discernment guide you, as opposed to allowing others to tell you what to do and where to go, whether it's Christmas or the holidays or any other time of the year. Now, when it comes to the question that I get from clients as to whether or not they should spend time with certain toxic people because it's Christmas, I ask them this question. I say, let's put Christmas aside. Let's put the label of the holiday season aside. Let's just push it to the side for a moment. And now let me ask you a question. If it was any other time of the year, would you be spending time with these people? What does it look like when you have spent time with these people in the past? Would you even be asking this question if it wasn't Christmas? And if the answer is, well, no, I don't spend time with these people. I never see them. As a matter of fact, I try to avoid them. Well, then my next question would be, what about this season makes that any different? Why should the label of Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's, what makes this label any different than how you operate any other time during the year? And now, this gets into another territory that I want to talk with you about just real briefly, and that is that a lot of times the abuse you experience in this life and the things you feel you have to do come not just from the toxic people in your life, but oftentimes it comes from what I refer to as institutionalized traditions. You see, a lot of what you're up against in this life, a lot of what keeps you stuck in toxic family dynamics and in and out of abusive relationships is not necessarily just because these people are forcing you, but there seems to be this overwhelming sense that society is kind of forcing you to do these things. Church has been forcing you to do these things. The idea and the concept and the scripts and the narratives that you've been given about Christmas is what's forcing you. This is what I refer to as the institutionalized traditions. It's the scripts that you've been given. It's the narratives that you've been given. Part of you breaking free of your toxic relationships with family, with in-laws, even with your own adult children comes down to you being able to acknowledge these scripts that you've been given, these narratives that you've followed all of your life. And part of it is being able to sever ties with those. You sever the ties with the institutionalized traditions, it frees you to be able to say no. Now, a lot of people will say, Kevin, but aren't the holidays about family? Well, yes, you do need family, by the way, right? We're no good to ourselves or anybody else if we're an island unto ourselves, right? We do need family, but I do want to point something out to you. There's a scripture, it's become one of my most favorite scriptures. It's where Jesus was teaching in a synagogue. And people ran into him and said, Jesus, you need to stop because your mom and your brother are outside and they want to talk to you. Jesus' response was very profound. He said, who is my mother and who are my brothers? He pointed to his disciples that were with him in that synagogue setting and he said, this is my mother and this is my brother and this is my sister. I'm going to stop there for a moment because what Jesus is saying is that, listen, I'm not subjecting myself to the institutionalized tradition, even the institutionalized traditions of what you call family. The reality is at some point you choose your family. Listen, you don't get to choose the family that you are raised by because you have no other options. But once you reach a certain point in your life, the message that Jesus is giving you is clear. You do choose your family. I encourage you, if any of this is resonating with you, to click the link because I want to share with you so much more about how to navigate toxic dynamics, how to cut yourself free, not only of toxic people in your life, but also institutionalized traditions surrounding Christmas and the holidays, narratives and scripts. I want to help you to break away from these things so that you can step into who you've been called to be your entire life. I do believe that God has a calling for your life. God has a purpose that you have yet to step into, and the reason is because number one, you have been looking for others to tell you what to do instead of trusting your own discernment. I want to help you to grab on to your own discernment because that is God's gift to you. I also want to help you to understand toxic family dynamics and how you at some point are able to cut yourself free of a family that no longer serves you. And I don't mean that in a narcissistic, selfish way, but I mean a family that no longer is embettering you or empowering you in this life. I want to help you to identify first and foremost who you are in your calling in this life so you can step into the relationships that you deserve to have. Click the link. There's a lot more to talk about. Get involved in this coaching program this holiday season. All right, and I'll look forward to talking with you. My name is Kevin, by the way, and this is The Royal We.